So I wanted to draw your attention to the very scandalous and shameful situation that we had right now. You all heard my statements when the British presidency, despite all the values and principles that it declared, that it will encourage participation of civil society activists, they denied participation of our briefer, who had direct relation to the topic of the meeting and who could bring absolutely valuable information for the attention of members of the Security Council. I tried to compensate this moment in my statement. I quoted some part, very disturbing part from his statement, which I thought it was necessary for everyone to listen. But we really are very much shocked by the behavior of the British presidency, and that's why we decided to protest and not to speak at the next meeting, which is starting right now. That's what I wanted to say.
Ambassador, you called a meeting about the Orthodox Church in Ukraine, and yet Russia bombed the Transfiguration Cathedral in Odesa, which is the main Orthodox church in Odesa and is part of a UNESCO-listed heritage site.
If you listened attentively to my statement at the end of the meeting, you would have heard that I expressed my astonishment with the fact that Western countries try to attribute the destruction of this cathedral to Russia. Because if they valued truth, at least slightly, they would have seen that this cathedral is not destroyed, which would be the case in its being hit by missile, but it's damaged. And the damage, the character of the damage clearly indicates that the source of this damage was the Ukrainian anti-air defense missile. We warned repeatedly the members of the Council that the main danger, or maybe the only danger for civilians in Ukraine during the high-precision Russian strikes on military infrastructure or objects related to military infrastructure, so the only danger for Ukrainian citizens are the actions of Ukrainian air defense, which is being placed in residential areas in the center of the cities in clear violation of international humanitarian law. There are a lot of video footages by the users of internet, Ukrainian users, who clearly show the character of destruction of the cathedral, and there are small elements which are very characteristic by the air defense missiles, which are not present in other combat missiles. And you know that the Ukrainian regime was so frustrated with the fact that the Ukrainian users, Odesa users, absolutely prevented it from lying, because it's quite obvious, and there are even footages of how the air defense missile hits this cathedral, that they declared to introduce a law which would punish anyone who publishes such things by the 3 years of prison. That's the response of Kiev regime.
You say Western countries, but the Secretary General of the UN condemned Russia for that attack.
I deplore very much the fact that Secretary General is not using the correct information. Unfortunately, we indicated several times that sometimes Secretary General is too fast and too swift to uphold the claims of Western countries, but too slow to accept the truth and to support what we are saying and to give assessment. Yeah.
Going back into the council, are you going to sit there? Is somebody going to sit in the Russian seat?
I'm not going. Of course, somebody will sit. Our expert will sit in our seat. I'm not going to the council because I saw that the level of participation of my Western colleagues during the previous meeting was very much consistent with the level of participation that we are showing right now.
Ambassador, we heard claims, and I'm sure we'll hear them in this council meeting yesterday, from the British ambassador that Russia has been using weapons that are designed to destroy aircraft carriers to take out grain sites in Odesa. Is that true? And also claims that you have put new sea mines into the Black Sea.
I haven't heard about it, frankly. I don't have any indication of this kind. These are all mere speculations. But what is not mere speculation, and again, we must thank Ukrainian social media users, is that when allegedly the grain storage is hit where the grain is supposed to be, the character in the ports, in the Ukrainian ports, the character of detonation clearly shows that it is about artillery shells and about some Western Western equipment that is being stored there in clear breach of the Black Sea Initiative. So it clearly indicates that Ukraine has been using the Black Sea Initiative, and under the guise of Black Sea Initiative, it has stockpiled a lot of weapons and shells in the premises of the ports, which is now being clearly shown by the users, and we have absolutely all the right to hit this legitimate target.
Ambassador, can I ask you about the cross-border aid to Syria? As you know, the government allowed the aid for 6 months from Bab al-Hawa, but the UN is saying that the conditions are not according to the parameters where the UN usually work. Do you believe that this should change? Do you think that the Security Council should negotiate this issue again? And there's the other two cross borders, Bab al-Ra'i and Bab al-Salam, that will expire on the 13th of August. Do you think they should be also renewed? Thank you.
I frankly don't see any room for efforts of Security Council at this stage, because now the efforts to render humanitarian assistance to Syria are happening within the normal framework as with any other country. It's in the dialogue between the legitimate Syrian government and OCHA. So they have to agree on how these operations will take place. I know that the Syrian government is very openly said that it takes all these three border crossing under its authorization. So the Syrian government has authorized the use of this border crossing. I think it's up to OCHA to agree on the terms on how to deliver humanitarian assistance in this regard, and I don't understand what is the platform of Security Council to get into this process, because this is a sovereign process between Syria and OCHA. So that's how I view this situation.
But the UN is saying that the conditions that the Syrian government is putting are not according to the way it's usually operate.
You are quoting Mr. Griffiths before he engaged with Syrian representatives. So the process is ongoing right now. Let's wait for the outcome of these negotiations.
Ambassador, there keep being messages coming from Ukraine that they're trying to revive the Black Sea Grain Initiative, potentially without Russia. What would that mean? What would Russia do?
I can't really comment things that Ukraine has in its head. It's sometimes you need a doctor to comment on it. I'm not a doctor, sorry. Yeah.
Can you confirm that on Monday there will be a meeting on Ukraine under Russian request, and on what exactly?
I would refrain at this moment to confirm it, because this is so far a matter between Security Council members. As soon as I will be able to confirm it, I will do it.
Ambassador,
Yeah.
just the question I asked, what do you think of this month's presidency of the UK?
It's a shame. It's a shame, really. It was a shame a year ago, because the President of Security Council should be neutral. He should be kind of leading the efforts of the Council to discuss certain issues, and he's not supposed to impose its own agenda. That's how we acted during our presidency, but unfortunately the UK has on several occasions showed that interests of NATO, interests of Western countries are more important for them than their position as a president. And today is also a very blatant example of this thing. I don't know what has happened with British diplomacy, but it's certainly not commendable. Thank you very much.
Just on Niger, Ambassador, because there seems to be a very confused situation.
I'm sorry, on Niger, I'm really out of the loop. I frankly don't have any information. If I had one, I would share it with you. Thank you very much.